Welcome to Mastering Mortgages, presented by Revolution Mortgage, the podcast that demystifies the world of mortgages, real estate, and homeownership. Our goal is to empower and inspire homebuyers, real estate professionals, and mortgage industry leaders. My name is Danielle, and I want to invite you to join me as I sit down with today's guest to talk about practical tips and valuable insights into the mortgage industry. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Mastering Mortgages podcast. Today, we're excited to feature two exceptional guests from Revolution Mortgage in Arizona, Peter Morris, the branch production manager, and Nicole Webster, the reverse mortgage division operations manager. Together, we'll explore valuable insights into reverse mortgages and debunk some common myths surrounding this loan program. Let's dive in. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode. We have Nicole and Peter joining us to talk about everything about reverse mortgages. So we're excited to dive into that. And just to start off, we wanted to learn a little bit more about the two of you and just had a little bit more of a fun question here. So what was the first place you ever lived in on your own, and what did you learn from that experience? And either one of you can start with this. It's the easy one.
You want me to jump in there first, Nicole?
Oh, sure.
All right. So, unfortunately, I am a senior and I can't remember back that far because I don't know what I ate yesterday. But so my first experience living on my own was actually when I went to college, and it was a great learning experience because I didn't realize how many bills you had to pay when you do live on your own. So that's the biggest thing that I learned is you kind of have to budget your money because there are a lot of bills as you get into life.
I would have to say mine is very similar. I moved about 2,000 miles away from my mom and dad and lived in an off-campus apartment with my older sister and realized that if you want to eat, you have to have money. So I would say definitely the bills and the money situation made me get a job real fast.
Yeah, that can be an easy motivator for sure. Great. Well, thank you guys for sharing that. I definitely feel like a lot of people can relate that the college time, age, experience, that is when you learn a lot of things, especially, how you need money to afford to live. So, that's awesome. Well, now I just wanted to dive into a little bit more about your background, professionally before and maybe during Revolution Mortgage, and also just wanted to hear a little bit more about how this, team came together. I believe you guys are related, if you want to touch on that as well.
Sure. So my background, I've been in the mortgage business since 1980, so 44 years now. So this is nothing new to me. I owned my own mortgage company prior to 2008 when I had a brain tumor and I was forced to close. So before that, Nicole actually worked for me while she was in high school. She did a lot of our post-closing stuff, some processing. So even at a young age, she had a really good knowledge as far as how the whole mortgage business works. When I was able to get back into work, that's when I really dove into strictly reverse mortgage. And then, a few years later, then Nicole actually and I joined together. So yeah, like you mentioned, Nicole is my daughter. So I took the platform that I had in place when I owned my own mortgage company, and we put that together to have the division that we have today here at Revolution. We took a lot of those processes that we had back then, and we've implemented them here. It's been a smooth transaction. All the branches really like what we do for them, etc. So that's some of my background in before, and again, while I'm here at Revolution, great place to work, I will say, in all my years in the business.
Look at that little plug you gave there.
Yeah, it is.
I would say, well, like Peter, I call him at work, but he is my dad. I used to work in post-closing for him in high school, which people laugh. I'm like, that's when we had fax machines, actual fax machines, not an email fax. Appraisers took photographs and mailed them to you. Um, so I worked in the mortgage industry then, and then I worked in high-end retail for a number of years. So I got a really good customer service background, which is why I always feel the need to help everybody. And then, yeah, we kind of joined together, put a lot of great systems in place. We kind of just bounce off one of another really well and work together really well. And yeah, we love Revolution. It's like a little family here. That's what I always tell everybody. It feels like I work with my family on top of working with family.
Yeah, when you actually do work with family.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys giving us just a little bit more insight into that background and kind of how you got to where you're at. And, we actually just did an episode about technology, and, this next generation just has no idea about how they missed out on all of the faxes and, all of that stuff that made things a little bit more timely to, or more time consuming to get the process going. But yeah, we definitely want to focus in more on reverse mortgages. So let's just start with the basics of what exactly is a reverse mortgage and how does it differ from a traditional mortgage?
Well, as far as a reverse mortgage, so what is a reverse mortgage? So today we call it a HECM, a home equity conversion mortgage, because in fact that's what you're doing. You're converting your home equity into a mortgage, all right? Cashing out of the equity of your home to help you enjoy the rest of your life, increase your cash flow, etc. So we don't use the term reverse any longer. We like to use the term HECM, home equity conversion mortgage. That's really what it is, converting
We
your
re
equity into a mortgage.
we rebranded it.
Hmm. Yep. No.
Yeah. And Nicole, do you want to add anything to that as well?
Um, no, I feel like that kind of it's the nail on the head, as describing what an in fact is,
Yes.
because I know a lot of people are confused when it comes to like how you utilize it. I've had even internally people are like, but what is it? And really, it's just taking the equity you've already acquired in your house and turning it into a mortgage.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, years ago, it was all about pay your mortgage off, pay your mortgage off, pay your mortgage off. And that was kind of like my parents' way years ago. And then what ended up happening is a lot of people became cash poor and equity rich. So this allows you to take a lot of the equity out of your home and again, increase your cash flow. Because what happens as we get older, our income goes down, our bills keep going up. So it's a great way to convert that into liquid cash, again, to help you enjoy the rest of your life.
Yes, and that is a great a great segue into just kind of wanting to talk about who would you say is the ideal candidate for a reverse mortgage, and are there specific factors or situations where this option would be most beneficial?
So
So
you want me to
go
go or
ahead.
you?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll add
I,
into that after.
I know I always steal your spot. I would say that really we don't have an ideal client, and you can jump in at any time, Dad, if I'm completely off. But I feel like there's just so many people that it can help that some people are like, oh, it's for people that are in foreclosure or down and out, but really it's not. Like we've even done loans for people that have $3 million houses that want to cash out on 900,000 and go on a vacation. So I feel like there's not a specific group of people that it's good for. I feel like there is a situation for everybody.
Hmm. So again, a misconception is, to be doing a home equity conversion mortgage, that both borrowers have to be a certain age when they don't have to be. Only one borrower has to be 62 to actually do the HECM FHA side product that we have. All right. If you're not, you're considered a non-borrowing spouse. So a lot of people think that, that you both have to be either a lot older in life. That isn't the case. We like to look at somebody that actually has between 30 and 70% of the equity in their home.
Going to be Yeah, and like we mentioned before, there's going to be loan officers that will be listening to this episode that maybe have been confused in the past about what this type of mortgage is and how it works. But it sounds like it's just an opportunity for new doors to open and provides different opportunities. So, could you walk us through maybe just a little bit about how a reverse mortgage works from like the perspective of the homeowner? I know we touched on it a little bit, but if you could just talk about it a little bit more.
Do you want me to go or you, Nicole?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. So, so really the process is, again, we look at people that are 62 and older, at least one borrower, has to have at least between 30 and 70% equity in their home. So you're going to have, somewhat of equity in your home to be able to take out some of that money. All right. So we take a look at that. Then we also take a look at it's easy to qualify in the Peckham reverse side than it is on the conventional forward side, as I would call it. So we take a look at a lot of borrowers that don't necessarily qualify in the conventional world through either debt to income or credit. Because on the reverse side, you can do anybody that has 400 credit scores in foreclosure one day out of bankruptcy. So, we take a look at those and we are able to help quite a bit of people out on the reverse Peckham side that cannot do a loan on the forward side because, again, they don't qualify due to they don't make a lot of money any longer.
Yeah, no, that makes sense and definitely provides a better insight into how that process kind of works and what that will look like. And just wanted to touch too on maybe why do you think reverse mortgages sometimes get a bad reputation and how can homeowners make informed decisions about them?
Mhm. So the reason that it has such a bad rap, all right, because unfortunately, birds of a feather flock together. And what do we all do when we're sitting at the senior center? We listen to all the other people there that have no idea that how the whole product works. They only hear from what they hear, and it's a bad product, etc. The lender's going to own your home, they're going to foreclose on you, and whatever. Okay, what I like to do is educate every potential borrower that we talk to, or just educate people in general, so that they can make their own decision on really how great the product is. So don't listen to what somebody else is telling you. Make an educated decision based on what is actual fact and not fiction.
Yeah. Nicole, do you have anything to add to that?
I always say I laugh when he says birds of a feather flock together because that could not be further from the truth. It like they all gossip together. Doesn't matter how old you are. So I always say ignore your nosy neighbor and just come and get the education from Peter that he provides because he sits and explains it and he'll explain it to everybody you want him to, like your mom, your kids, your everyone on your family. But just getting that education from him is really worthwhile because there is so much negative and incorrect information out there that he is definitely the one that will help you learn more about it and how it can benefit you.
I will give an example. Last week, I spoke to a son for his father. I sent him over a proposal because that's part of the process on the reverse side. We went over it with him, and then he said, "Do you mind if we get on a Zoom call with my other five brothers and sisters?" So we scheduled that. He was in New Jersey, like I mentioned. So we got on. There was six other couples, five other couples plus himself, and we were on a Zoom call for 2 hours going over and answering any questions they might have. So again, they can make an educated decision as a family if this is a great product for their parents or not. So I always like to educate as many people as I can.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought up the education piece too, because just at Revolution Mortgage in general, that is our goal is to educate the buyers and educate, other loan officers so they're better equipped with making the right decision. And so with that, just want to hear about how when you're educating, maybe other originators who might not be so familiar with HECMs on this program, how do you express to them the benefits of looking into the program and how to position it to maybe skeptical homeowners?
So I always say this is not a loan that you can fake it till you make it. All right. Now, there's a lot of products in the mortgage business that LOs can read on, and as they're getting potential borrower, walk themselves through the process as well. Unfortunately, again, birds of a feather flock together. Seniors do a lot of reading. Okay. So it is not a loan that if you don't have a good understanding of what you're doing and how to answer questions, they're already backpedaling because there's already, again, bad reputation. So they're already backpedaling. And as soon as you can't answer questions, they're backpedaling so much they're out the door. So that's why we have it set up the way that we have it at Revolution, where we train loan officers so that they have a basic, somewhat of a good understanding of what to look for and answer some questions. And then they, in turn, either get on the phone with myself or they just turn it over to us, and so the borrowers are going to get all the questions answered. They're having a good experience. They're going to refer more borrowers because, again, they've had such great experiences. So that is my big thing that I like to portray to other loan officers are it is not bad when you're talking to somebody to say, I don't do a lot of them. I don't have as much experience. Let me put somebody in touch with you that has a lot of experience. So just like over all my years owning a mortgage company and being in the mortgage business, like I didn't do construction loans because that wasn't my thing. But I had somebody in there that did them. So I'm not going to try to do it and fumble across it. Borrower has a bad experience and then doesn't want to call the company back any longer. I would turn it over to, again, one of the other LOs, VA loans, etc. So, it is not bad, like I mentioned, to say, hey, I don't do a lot of them. I want to get somebody in touch with you that can answer all the questions you potentially might have.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's definitely teamwork, and they are kind of setting it up and passing the baton to you
Mm-hmm.
to be able
Mm-hmm.
to seal the deal and make sure that they know
Mm-hmm.
everything they need to know before making those decisions. So, and Nicole, I just wanted to see for you, what would you say is your most valuable education takeaway for lenders?
I always tell people, look at the marketing that we have. Before you post it, before you send it out, everything that we do here at Rev is on the reverse side is stuff that we create. And then we partner together with John and Danny and you and get everybody's input before something's created. And I feel like there's so much marketing material that is educational because that's kind of all we put out. We don't put out like apply now. These are the rates. Ours is more of what the benefits are, who the ideal client is, or I guess not the ideal client, but how old you have to be and things of that nature. And I feel like I always say this to LOs, like on top of doing the trainings that Peter does, look at the marketing that we have because there's so much information in there that there's just little tidbits that you will get from it that you wouldn't even realize by just reading it before you just go out and splash it all over the place.
We don't use any generic marketing piece. We create a marketing piece, as you guys know, for a specific market that the branch slash LOs are in, and we do a lot of co-marketing or branding pieces with a lot of realtors, financial planners, etc. Because everybody's markets are different depending on where you live. So, that's one of the advantages that we have here. Like Nicole said, she does work very closely with you guys because she makes all our marketing pieces that we can tailor a specific marketing piece for anybody that you, as a branch or an LO, are trying to market with.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that you guys are talking about the marketing pieces because you're right. That's, what they're made for is to educate people. And hopefully, if somebody is interested in learning more, then they'll read that marketing piece to be able to understand it a little bit better. So, Yeah, well, the next thing too, I know we said that there's not really an ideal candidate for reverse mortgages, but there is an aging population. I know reverse mortgages have been around for a long time, but do you see reverse mortgages, maybe becoming even more popular in the next few years, or how do you think they will evolve in the coming years?
I do. I mean, 12,000 people a day and turning 62 for the next 20 years. Okay. We are living longer. All right. By the year 2035, one in every will be headed by somebody 65 and older. You know, a lot more younger people. And when I say younger, a lot more people at 62 are really looking into reverse mortgage today when people didn't till years ago. Like Nicole mentioned, this loan used to be called the loan of last resort when you were down and out. And I think that's one of the big misconceptions too is I can't do this because I'm not down and out. Well, the product today is not like that, so it is great for that. And due to the fact that, again, so many people who are living longer, and a lot more people are cashing in on the equity and want to enjoy their lives at an earlier age.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, and you touched on it earlier, talking about your parents, how it was always pay off the mortgage, pay off the mortgage. Now I feel like in our generations, people don't need to do that as much because kids are buying their own houses. Like, we're not waiting for our parents to pass down their house to us. I would rather, as somebody whose parents, I mean, have a mortgage or don't have a mortgage, I would rather you use whatever equity you have in your house to enjoy your life. I have my own house. I don't need your house. So I feel like that is a big misconception for children or heirs. Like, I want you to be happy. I want you to take all the money that you have and do whatever you want. Go on vacation. Take me on vacation. But just, you know what I mean? I feel like a long time ago, it used to be like that, where everybody was worried about giving their kids something. And now I feel like we kind of are the opposite.
Well, and I can speak as a senior myself that, today with the internet and the ability to make a lot of money uh, through the internet today, that channel that we didn't have, that our kids have today, our kids in most times make a lot more money than we do. So, like Nicole mentioned, they're looking to say, hey, you enjoy your life. We don't need your money. If we get anything, that's great, not like it was years ago. So, a lot more kids are actually telling their parents, hey, you should do this. It's a great product for you so that you can enjoy the rest of your life. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of that has changed a lot since what it used to be and how it is now. And maybe that's something that needs to be reversed is the parents used to be taking care of their kids and waiting to pass things down. But now you do see more the kids helping out parents in those kinds of ways as well, or even buying their parents a new house. So I feel like
Hmm.
that's something that you see that maybe wasn't so common before. But also just wanted to see if you could share maybe a real life success story of where a reverse mortgage significantly benefited a homeowner. Like, what were the
Sure.
key factors that made this a
Hmm.
good decision for them?
Okay, so we actually
I
saved
know
a
exactly who you're going to say.
we saved a woman's house. She was 15 days from foreclosure. She had already exhausted all her avenues in what I would call the forward world. Okay. I got a call from a court liaison in a court in Tennessee. We do some work out there. She called me and said, Peter, we have a candidate that we hope that you can save. Because what a lot of people don't realize is the court doesn't want to foreclose on your house. If you can do something to save your house, that's what they really want to do. So I said, let me take a look. So we called the borrower. I went over her financial situation. She had 400 credit scores. She was 15 days from losing her house. Okay. We were able to do a reverse mortgage for this particular woman. We funded the loan in 16 days, not 15, because there's a right of rescission. She had to go in the hospital the day we were going to close, so we had to send a notary the next day. So I had to call the court and talk to the judge and say, they are funding on the 16th. This loan has already closed, so he gave us the extra day. So not only did we save this woman's house, that she was losing it in 15 days. She no longer has to make a mortgage payment. We escrowed her taxes and insurance. She doesn't have to make that any longer. And we gave her a $50,000 line of credit to live on. A woman that was losing her house in 15 days. So now she doesn't have to worry. She can stay in that house the rest of her life and never have to worry about making a mortgage payment or leaving her house till, unfortunately, she leaves it permanently. So that was such a great, it was such a great feeling to know that this woman had lived in the house for 50 years with her husband. Her husband actually had built the house. And the reason she was in a bad situation, it got hit by was it a tornado, Nicole?
Yes.
Having to put the house back together. She couldn't afford to pay the contractor based on all the other work that she had to do, and he put a lien on the house and eventually went into foreclosure. So we gave her enough money to pay the lien off. And again, like I mentioned, $50,000 to actually live on, which she ended up buying a new car with about 20,000 of it because she needed a car as well. No car payment, no mortgage payment, etc.
Wow, that's definitely a really great testimony of, the power of this type of loan and how it can help people. Especially it sounds like with her situation, after dealing with a natural disaster, I can't even imagine the headache. So, wow, that's going to be hard to follow, Nicole. But do you have anything that you want to add or any other stories that maybe come to mind?
I actually do have just one, and it's a recent one that we just did. It was a girl that we actually started working with probably back in February. Her dad has dementia, and she's trying to avoid him having to go into an assisted living facility. She'd rather have somebody come into the home and do in-home health care. And she had a power of attorney. We had to get guardianship. It was a long process for her. And I stayed in touch with her probably weekly. I was just checking in on her, seeing how things were going. She was sending me pictures of her dad. Um, we eventually were able to get the loan closed and get him the money that he needed in order to be able to stay at home. But it really just touched me because my grandma had dementia and I know how it was to take care of her. So I can understand how she felt wanting somebody to take care of her in their house that they grew up in instead of just being another number at a facility. So it was really nice to see it all come together and them be able to stay home and have somebody come care for him.
Yeah, that's definitely another, heartwarming story of just how much this loan can mean to somebody when they feel like there's no other options for them. So I appreciate you guys sharing that and just again showing that these loans can work and really just make an impact on people's lives. So just to kind of close out, I wanted to have you guys speak directly to borrowers or maybe family members, right? Because might be younger generations that are going to be listening to podcasts. So they might have somebody come to mind when they're learning this information from y'all. But what advice would you give to someone that may be considering a reverse mortgage today or for, a family member, or just buying a home in general too, if you want to touch on that?
Gotta let you go
Again,
first.
it's all about being educated. And I always tell borrowers, let's make an educated decision. This might not be the right thing for you at this particular time. I had a borrower yesterday say, is this really something good for me? Why wouldn't I do a regular traditional mortgage? Well, a couple of reasons is number one, based on the fact she's retired now, she doesn't qualify to do that. Even if she could, she'd have to make monthly mortgage payments. So the Heckham side worked out a lot better for her. But again, educating them on whether it is a right product for them or not, and getting everybody involved so that they understand the product as a family. To me, I can't express how big being educated is so that you can make that decision. And don't listen to anybody else. Get educated.
Yeah, and ask questions, right? Like you
Hmm.
don't know what they don't know unless they are asking you those questions.
I always tell everybody, God gave you two ears and one mouth for a reason. Listen to what they're telling you because they're telling you what you want to hear. And I always ask borrowers right in the beginning, what have you heard about it and what questions do you have? So I can address those right in the beginning. So, because if they have if they already have a bad misconception and you don't address that in the beginning, they're not going to listen to you no matter how long you try to educate them. I like to get that negativity out right in the beginning. Okay, let's get that out. Those are myths. That doesn't really happen. Now let's really talk about the product and how great it is.
And
Yeah.
I would say it's more towards my generation. Like, I'm not old enough to do a reverse mortgage. And I always tell people, I might not be old enough. My friends might not be old enough, but you have parents, you have grandparents. Do you want to see them struggle? And I mean, this is going to sound terrible, but we had one borrower before she did her loan that was eating cat food because that's all she could afford. Like, don't make it about you. Make it about them and let them be happy and let them enjoy their lives. So if you are an heir, don't expect a house to just be given to you. Like, you need to let that person get the education, decide if it is the right program or not. I mean, sometimes Peter will tell them, I don't think you should do this. But just let them make an informed decision for themselves and don't make it about you. Make it about them.
Yeah, that is definitely great advice. I appreciate you guys sharing that. And, I feel like we definitely have cleared up a lot of misconceptions about reverse mortgages, or, as we like to call them, home equity conversion mortgages. And with that being said, just wanted to give you guys the opportunity, if there's any other closing remarks you'd like to add for, loan officers, borrowers, family members, or just any of the listeners that might be listening into this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a loan officer and you want to get into the HECM space, get educated as well. It is a decision that a borrower needs to make based on your education. Give them the right knowledge to make the right educational decision.
And follow us on Instagram. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you want to, either as a loan officer, a borrower, if you want to be educated, if you want to learn more, even if it's not the right time, but you want to learn more about it, just reach out to us. I mean, we have no problem talking to anybody about it. Like I said, it might not be the right time. It may be the right time, and you may need to move quickly. So don't hesitate to reach out and don't be nervous.
So, I mean, that's a real good point, is we at Revolution are a lender. We're not a broker. We control the loan from start to finish. We have closed these loans as quick as 5 days, which nobody in the industry has. Okay, our average turn time right now is about 15 days on a loan. Again, in the industry as a whole right now, they're probably 30 days out. We've closed more loans that other lenders could not close, that were actually denied by other lenders. We took it, we closed it. So, we can go as fast or as slow as the borrower's needs. If you're in a pinch, I always say we can put the pedal to the metal if you want. If you're not in a hurry, we're not going to push you. We're going to go at your pace.
Yeah, I'm sure that's comforting for people to hear too, knowing that, you guys can work with them on their timeline. That's definitely important. So, yeah. Well, I think that is pretty much everything that we wanted to cover here on this episode. So I just want to thank you guys again, Nicole and Peter, for joining us and just helping our audience learn a little bit more, and also, debunk some myths maybe, but just really glad that we were able to listen in and take something away today. So thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To stay up to date with our podcast, please subscribe, follow us on social media, and visit our website, revolutionmortgage.com, to learn more about how we are revolutionizing the mortgage industry. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you next time.